Hey everybody, it's my poor man's Buckin Special. What do you think about it, huh? Plumb 3.2, hickory handle, great splitting edge, .32-inch handle. Does great, fantastic. Is it the best one I have? No. Is it the most important axe that I have? Yes, definitely. I had a couple people reach out to me and ask me exactly what I mean by poor man's Buckin Special. Like, is it to be offensive, or is it to be, something else, other than what it's not, which isn't remotely offensive. It's has nothing to do really with Buckin and his pricing or anything like that. It actually has to do with his message more than anything, and that message is what this is about to me. Everybody has their little story on certain tools, and axes, saws, whatever it is, and this one's mine. So years and years ago, when I started watching channels like Buckin and Killinger and all these really good YouTube channels that have good positive messages, I was in a real dark time. And to elaborate on that story a little bit, I was going through a divorce, and I lost my job, and a lot of really bad stuff. And I was kind of searching, for my next step. What I want to do. I've been a musician most of my life, and I could always lean on that. Get with the guys and jam, or whatever, play out, or whatever it may be, to kind of, and then worked out a lot, so I could hit the gym and stuff like that. I kind of wasn't in that at the time, and I was depressed and would just sit in front of the TV all day, and or the computer, and I watched YouTube, and then I found some of these channels like Buckin's, and kind of brought me back to my past, or my roots, and I thought, what, I have an old double-bit out there in the garage, rusting away. Kind of inspired me. Some of these channels kind of inspired me to maybe, get my mind off things and do something, with my hands. And so that's when I wanted to start learning more about, the axe and chainsaw communities, and actually, do some of this stuff hands-on. So I made my own handle out of some hickory, and I, cleaned this double bit up real well, and gave it a good edge, and hafted on there, and I would much rather had a real Buckin Special at the time, that I really wanted that, but I couldn't afford it. Number one, if I were to purchase one, I took it the other way and went ahead and just kind of made my own thing. Something that resembled a Buckin Special, that what I had in my head as a Buckin Special, since I like double bits, and kind of burn it a little bit and everything. And you can't really tell. You kind of can on the grain, but that deep grain in there that you get when you burn it and everything. So so I kind of did all that the best I could, from what I learned there, and then also some stuff from Killinger that I took on from watching his stuff back then. But and that's what that means, that's what that means to me. It has nothing to do with finances or anything like that, or any sort of pricing. It's actually my personal story with this. Every time I look at this, I think about that time in my life where I was really down and out and poor and just searching for something, and then all of a sudden I get this inspiration from a lot of these YouTubers like Buckin, and it helped bring me out of that day, that time. And so this is a reminder of that for me. That's why I call it the poor man's Buckin Special. So it's quite the opposite of any sort of degradation of Buckin or anything like that. I love the man to death. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. Who doesn't like that guy? He's the man. But yeah, that's kind of what that is to me. I just wanted to answer a couple viewer questions from that. So anyway, that's what this means to me. Again, it's not the best axe in the world, but it is to me because of the story. And I use it every time I split wood. Pretty much every time. It's a great tool, great steel. Plumb made a heck of an axe. And again, something I learned from a lot of these channels. A lot of these older tools are made so well, and they're just laying there, and why go out and buy a brand new axe when you have some of this old stuff you can pick up at flea markets and sales, yard sales and such, and they're just as good, if not better, and you can bring them back to life and have some cool stories too. So anyway, we'll get to this video. Just wanted to share that really quickly. Show you guys a few little tricks I learned throughout my life splitting wood. This is something though that you got to make sure you have a very strong tool, a good steel on the head, and the technique is kind of tricky. You don't want to barely penetrate the wood. You want to really penetrate the wood well in this technique that I'm showing before you actually use the tool as leverage. I don't want people coming back to me going, I broke the tip of my axe off, or I tried to do whatever. You gotta, this is something that it's kind of probably a little bit unorthodox technique that I do. And I don't do it all the time, but I'm going to do it a lot on this video just to show the technique. Okay, you don't have to do this a lot. You don't have to do it at all, actually. You can just split straight through the wood, or, try to, incorporate the flick technique that Buckin tries to push, which is a great one. It kind of does the same thing. You can't do this on a real strong green wood either. You really shouldn't do this. So kind of a disclaimer there. I'm not responsible for any of your all's methods. I'm just showing you what I do. If it works for you, that's awesome. If it doesn't, that's awesome too. Whatever works. You know, I split wood. I cut and split wood to heat my home. So if this helps anybody, it's a win for me. So hang tight.